right. So I'm going to pin a couple of people. Dora, Kathy, I've got this. I'm going to pin someone. So every week at Business at Breakfast, one of the members gets the opportunity to share with the group a little bit more about themselves and tell the group, what it is that they do. They could use the time to, ask for help or assistance if that's what they wanted. Or they can just, I don't know, tell us something. I don't know. I've decided to pick Lincoln this week. And the reason being is I have been waiting for weeks for Lincoln to come in to Business at Breakfast, but he's busy, like doing weddings and performing somewhere. And it's currently 10 o'clock at night. And honestly, I didn't know if he'd make it to the 10 o'clock or the 1 o'clock in the morning one. So it's just been a bit free flowing. So I haven't really had someone specifically lined up for the international events. And I've been practicing interviewing and allowing people to come in sort of without practice first up. But I've picked Lincoln because I talk about him every week, and I have done for years, like as if he's here with us. So you guys don't know that he hasn't been. And so Lincoln, it's really cool to have you out. I've known Lincoln for the last 4 years, ever since COVID hit, went online, discovered HMP or Happy Neighbourhood Project. Lincoln was over at the Australian Morning Group, which is basically this time but yesterday. And, he'd come in and he'd just be Lincoln, and then he'd play the piano bit every now and then. And from there, super cool that he is. He used to talk about telegrams, musical telegrams, and how he'd make them for, it could be a birthday thing or an anniversary. My dad passed away in 2021. And later that year, I think it would have been my mum and dad's, I don't know, well, they'd known each other 57 years at that point, because they met when they were 12. And they'd been married for, 8 years less than that. So it was coming on their 49th or 50th year of being married. And so I got Lincoln to make my mum a telegram, and it was really neat because he asked questions like this: what was your mum and dad's wedding song? Did they have another favorite song in there? And then he just jams it all together on the piano and then puts in Here Comes the Bride. But he talked to my mum first online, then played the music, and then had a bit of a chat afterwards about my dad being gone and how he would have been there. And it's really neat. So, and then from there, Noah discovered him and said, maybe I want to learn the piano. I said, I should get a piano. And then Lincoln became his teacher. And it's amazing. Noah would get up at 9 years old. He would get up at 5:30 in the morning to have a lesson with Lincoln. And then Lincoln would use Noah as a sales tool for all of his kids over in England by going, I have a 9-year-old boy in Australia who goes to a lesson at 5:30 in the morning. And then Lincoln's kids would go, so what are you saying? At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I shouldn't be complaining. He goes, that's right. So very cool to hear how we've got to sort of use each other over the last few years online to sort of highlight different things about what we do. With that, Lincoln, I'm just going to let you take it away. Tell us something. Kathy's put the timer up. You've got about 7 minutes. You don't have to take up all that time. We have plenty of questions, I'm sure, that we will ask. But tell us a bit about how you got into piano and how you started making these telegrams, what you do. Give us a little bit of a rundown of the different things that you get paid for, and we'll ask questions. You're good to go.
I'm good to go. Yeah.
Good to
Am I first of all, I'm unmuted. Yes, I am. Good morning, everybody. I've had my ears burnt by Misty about getting in here, and I know she's been burning your ears about me. So I'm just pleased to be myself and for you to know that I actually do exist, and I do have a voice of my own and all the rest of it. So I'm Lincoln Noel. I've been playing the piano professionally for 36 years. I'm in my 45th year of doing weddings. I've done over 2,000 weddings. I've done weddings for people of all ages. I have taught the piano for 37 years, and my youngest, I think, was 4. And my oldest, he's still alive, he's 96. So when people say to you, I'm too old to learn the piano, just remember that Lincoln has a piano student who's 96, because it's always the people that are about 45 or 51 that say, I'm too old. People always want to know, have I played for the Queen? Yes, I have. I've played for the late Queen, the Duke of Edinburgh. Princess Diana lives 5 minutes. Uh, Princess Diana is buried 5 minutes up the road from me. So I knew Princess Diana before she was famous, before she was married to our present king. She was the president of where I studied in London at the Royal Academy of Music. I studied there from 18 to 22. Whilst I was still a student, I made my debut in the West End in London. That was my big break, and I had an opportunity to work in the theatre. I've worked in a series they call the BBC Proms. I've done four piano concertos. I've done my last big concert I did earlier this year. When I played Lieder, Schubert and Vaughan Williams and all the classical giants. I've got a jazz trio. I'm playing with them tomorrow night. And during lockdown, by chance, when I was talking to one of Bruce Springsteen's sidesmen, they said that they were entertaining and singing Happy Birthday for $15. And I said, can I borrow the idea? And that's how my telegrams were born. So what I did was I put a medley of the favorite tunes of the person who is being celebrated together, whether it was them getting married or whether it was their birthday or their anniversary. And I would strip this piano down. You'll see on my YouTube videos that whenever I perform, I always take the front off the piano and take all this is all my teaching material, take it off the top, put my tuxedo on, and perform 5 or 6 songs. I actually did a telegram for Liberace's first cousin. She was 103. She'd been passing herself off for 57 up until the age of 98 with gentlemen, but we won't go there. So that was her. Liberace was my inspiration when I was 3. I saw him in black and white TV here in the UK and decided that I wanted to play the piano. My dad tried to teach himself, and I looked over my dad's shoulder, and that's how I started playing the piano. I watched Liberace, I watched Daniel Barenboim, I watched Yehuji Menuhin play the violin live when I was 6 here in Northamptonshire. Oscar Peterson, obviously, and I had lots and lots of different heroes. And I just wanted to wear nice clothes and play for nice people. And I've played for nice people of all ages, of all classes, of all backgrounds, and at all levels society. And I always present myself the same way as if I was going to present myself for the Queen or the most important people. Everybody in my world is equal. This time last week, I was dancing with the bride and groom and bridesmaids, and it was dreadful work, and I'd rather have been here with you lot. But hey, a boy has got to make a living. So there you are. That's a short synopsis of Lincoln Noel, the maestro. I'm here in Northampton. Northampton is virtually in the centre of England. I'm sort of halfway between Birmingham and London. So if those of you in the States and in Australasia, sort of trying to place where I am, if you can see London, go up an hour, and that's where I am. And I will take any questions in the time we've got left.
Excellent. I'm just going to make a statement first off is in regards to you saying get to wear nice clothes and perform. This has been quite relevant for Noah because he's in the school band playing the violin. Didn't know that Lincoln played the violin, but then Noah got quite a surprise when he happened to say one day, by any chance, have you ever played the violin? I have, as a matter of fact. And Lincoln tells this story about having to being asked to play in a mate's orchestra because one of the violinists was out. But what I noticed most about it was he said, Noah, he said, I said, I'm going to steal the show because, I mean, look at me. Look at me, I'm going to stand out, and I looked stunning, white shirt, silver buttons, like the rest of the orchestra paled by comparison. He said, and I got up and played. But since then, Noah had an Eisteddfod a couple of weeks ago, And him and I got into, well, I tried not to argue, but he got into quite the argument about the relevance of clothing and what's important, and can't he just fold it up, put it in his bag, and then get dressed later on, versus have it already pressed nicely and then put it on, from a hanger straight on. And it said, you know what, talk to Lincoln about it. So Lincoln doesn't just teach the piano, he teaches everything about performing at anything, and the difference between what you want to look like and don't look like as well. So I really do notice, and it's funny that you just happened to bring that again. I just want to look nice and do that. And that's been quite relevant for Noah to learn and understand the difference between black tracksuit pants and pants that involves a button and a zip. Right? Kids don't necessarily know the difference until they're told the difference. They won't listen to parents so much. But I'm going to open up to the floor. Everybody ask Lincoln questions.
Silence.
All right, Joe.
Hey.
Lincoln, I know that
Yeah.
it happens, but I can't get it in my head. How do you actually teach someone the piano over the internet?
Oh, wow. Well, here I am. I mean, I'm sitting at the piano. I wanted to turn the camera around so you can see me. So where the camera is, I mean, there's two things to say. Because Misty's here and I teach Noah. By the way, I speak. Noah has plenty to say like his mother, but he doesn't talk when I speak. I speak more than he does. So you'll be relieved to know that I boss the lessons when I teach him and he listens to me. But what I was going to say is I have to know what I'm teaching. I have taught it doesn't, I have to concede it, although it did work with Noah, but for absolute beginners who are very, very little, age 5 and 6, it's very, very difficult unless their parents are present. But teaching, obviously, I before coming on the call, I was teaching in person. Teaching in person is on the internet or on the Zoom is like teaching in person. The only thing is I can't get their hands and touch, so I have to be very, very it's important everything Misty says is absolutely true. Be very, very clear about what you mean and be very, very clear about what you say, because on the Zoom you've got to be very, very eloquent so that whoever you are teaching gets your information and then can put it into practice. So yes, I am a very good communicator, and I know I'm very clear in my head about how I play the piano, and I'm very clear about how I verbalize it to my recipient. And all of my students who I now see in person, I was teaching during lockdown on Zoom. And now it's funny, I've noticed that my children listen more closely since lockdown with me than they did before lockdown, because communication was very, very important. So yeah, if we were having this conversation 5 years ago and you said, I'm going to be teaching somebody on FaceTime or Zoom or all the other things platforms, I would have laughed you out of the room, but it does work.
Yeah, so with Noah, I have the phone, so they get on FaceTime and Lincoln can see the piano, so we can see Noah's hands. So we can tell Noah when his hands are in the wrong spot. Noah refuses to get on camera. So, and he doesn't want any part of him seen by Lincoln. And then he gets very stroppy at the end if Lincoln and I have chatted and said goodbye, and he goes, I didn't get to say goodbye, I never got on camera. But he only allows Lincoln to see his hands, and then Lincoln can tell him where he's doing. But Lincoln also has to, as he said, he has to know the music. Noah can't just pull something out and go, I'm going to play this. We kind of can. But then Lincoln says, great, just show me what that looks like. Or we get to send that. So I have to say that like tonight, Noah's supposed to have a lesson tonight, but I'm at a meeting. So it's pushed to tomorrow. And Noah even said, I don't want to do it without you there, because I'm sometimes the scribe to help with that. He said this and put your hands here or something like that. So Noah can hear it, but yeah, you do. it is a bit tricky sometimes when you're not physically there to get that help from a teacher. But
Although
Lincoln said before,
yeah,
if you really
I-
need someone face to face, I'll point you towards a teacher in the meantime.
Yeah, just to come back to Joanne, most of my kids actually that I was teaching on Zoom, I didn't need to have their parents there because it gave there are many things, you know, you're teaching kids not just the piano, they're looking to you as adults. You'll notice that Noah takes more notice of me than he does of his mother, which is why he does smarten up. You know, the bride that I played to last week was a pupil of mine. She was, you know, she was a baby when I first knew her. I knew her when she was born. Her cousin was 7. Her cousin is now 43. The bride is now 31. So I've been a life coach. I help the bride to become a West End performer. You know, it's important to even if you can't put across just the piano, it's about teaching them to be good people as well. That's a
Yeah,
that's a
very
huge
true.
part of it's a very huge part of me teaching. So I've got to be a good person because they're looking to me. My students look to me. They observe. They know everything about me. You know, one thing that most of you won't know is I lost my wife last year, and they were aware of that journey right to the end. And they also learned about empathy. They were able to open up and talk to me about humanity and sadness and joy. Um, and if they didn't have that relationship with me, they wouldn't have been able to experience that process in a positive way and come out the other way. So there's so many things other than just playing the piano. You know, it's a life experience, and you know, I give all of myself. So I suppose it works on screen because that's the way it rolls.
Definitely
Yeah.
get my money's worth because the whole family kind of sits there and listens to the entire lesson. If it was live, we wouldn't be there because Noel wouldn't listen if I was anywhere nearby. So I would never be there. But we do get all the lessons. Simon turns the TV off. We all listen in and we have a chuckle and see what Lincoln can get Noah to do because we can't. And we learn something along the way too. So we get definitely get our money's worth because you know, a lot of cool stuff comes out of it. And then I get to use this. Well, remember what Lincoln said last week? And now all of a sudden life seems to be a bit easier this year. So that's kind of cool. Adrian, you've got your hand up.
Yes, I did. Firstly, a little statement, Lincoln. Nice to see you again. Just a little bit of trivia for you. My father lives in a little town in Gloucestershire where Vaughan Williams was born. So, yeah.
Yes.
So I've actually been into Vaughan Williams's birth house in a little town in Gloucestershire. Bit of trivia for you. And yeah. And the question for you is, do you tour or have concerts?
Yes, I have toured. I mean, when I was working in theatre, I toured the whole country. I do play around the country. Up until lockdown, I was doing a lot of concerts for an organisation called Music in Hospitals, which is where you take the concert experience to people in care homes or children with learning difficulties or very, very sick children. So for those of you, Adrian will know, I have literally played in every part of England, Wales, Scotland, but not Ireland, funnily enough. So yes, I do. I mean, I travel more to play parties and weddings, but yes, I've got a jazz trio, and we were discussing that we would travel because we are a performing trio. You know, so you know, ladies and gentlemen, the Lincoln Noel Trio, we come on from behind the curtain and we perform as well as, you know, we're there for drinks receptions. So yeah, we are very sort of platform friendly. And
Okay, we'll have a conversation. I'm down in Devon. Perhaps if you're coming down, we'll connect up.
yeah, we'll sort that one out, Adrian. And at
Sounds
some
good.
point, I'll be in Australia to do a concert.
No,
with you
I'm
guys.
in the UK
Yeah.
at the moment. I'm in Devon.
No, but I'm
Know
down
where
here.
you are, Adrian.
It's not
And
about
so
you,
are all
Adrian.
there is absolutely no way that I'll be pushing up the daisies without going down to see. Noah will have a Lincoln experience in
Right.
person. He knows that, and of course, Kathy and all my friends in the States, we have to meet at some point. I did meet my business coach from Harristown in Pennsylvania. She came over last year, and that was really very, very special. So, you know, there is something very, very powerful about, and I met Edwin
I was
who
going to
runs.
say, you saw Edwin the other year, like last year or something.
Oh,
You happened to
yeah.
be in town. You're
You know,
going,
there's
oh, I'll just drive. We'll go have coffee.
there's something very, very powerful about, the relationships we have on Zoom worldwide, and you meet somebody that you've been speaking to for so long, and sometimes these people are even closer to you than family. It's really really powerful. So if you get a chance to meet any of your friends wherever they are in the country where you live, or in another country, even if it's a 2-hour trek, do it, because it'll be well worth it. Well worth it, and very, very powerful. Any other questions before we get back into networking?
I do have one. I forgot to
Yeah.
ask you, Lincoln, what's your price for a lesson?
Yeah, I can't discuss things without legal representation. No,
I'll tell you.
it works out about 25 Great British pounds per half an hour, or £50, 50
Yep.
Great British pounds an hour. You can do the adjustments in your various
How much is
currencies.
it for a telegram? How much is it for a telegram? Lincoln, in pounds.
Telegrams, depending on what people have, generally they're about £100 now. But they're always about 8 to 10 minutes. So what I always do with a telegram is I will play a medley of songs. I had somebody who wanted Beethoven, they wanted something operatic, they wanted something from ABBA, they wanted something from the Jackson 5, and they wanted me to play some nursery rhymes as well as Happy Birthday. I managed it. So and then I had somebody that wanted everything from the Jackson 5. I had somebody, this is the best thing, is that round the world, of course, especially, the guys who live in the American Midwest who love the folk stuff. I've had to listen to music out of my culture that I would never have played, and take time out to write. I've got music galore here, but some of the music that I've 70% of the music I've played on the telegrams is music that songs I'd never played. So, I may have had to learn a Taylor Swift song that I wouldn't have played. I had no idea about Hamilton. Although my kids in the other room will be rolling their eyes now at the thought that Dad did not know what Hamilton was. A lot of Disney tunes, American rock bands that are known to you guys that I hadn't had a clue about. Thank God for YouTube. Okay. So
Jam
that's
out
how.
Pirates for me. Lincoln's the reason. Well, Noah had heard it, and then he started it, and then because Lincoln plays it, and I've gone, it's only taken me 2 solid years to get down 1 minute's worth, 1 minute and 15 seconds worth. 2 solid years, and I can now do this tiny little snippet very slowly and gently with 2 hands. 2 solid years. Lincoln, play us some Pirates of the Caribbean so that you can hear what it is that we're talking about.
I hope you can hear the piano okay.
We can.
See, can you hear that okay?
Well, we could hear a little bit, not as good as I'm used to hearing it, but I know it's a Zoom thing, right? Zoom doesn't work out.
No,
as easily.
I will. I was doing something on Zoom the other day, and I have to make an adjustment. So let me do that adjustment, and then I'll play something for you a little bit. Maybe at the end of the meeting. I'll play something
Right at the end. So I'm just going to quickly go around and I'm going to ask. So I know we're 5 minutes over, and I do tend to keep to time. However, this is kind of cool. So can't help it when you get someone super amazing. But yeah, there you go. There's Lincoln with Edwin, for those who know Edwin from Happy Neighborhood Project.